What's up guys, it's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Overpowered? Part 2. Once again, let's try to hit 800 likes. Thank you so much for all the support. If you guys want to know exactly when I upload my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. But before we start, a special thank you to my balance breakers. Rob the King, Lachlan Yakes, Atomic Warlord 58, Crumbling Darkness Fear, Madly Wolf 333, Aunt Lewis, The Beast YT3, Shade Fox, VR Wolf #2347, Sinmar Q, Jordan Patchow, Mazaku, Dr_MLG_ is the bomb, Asimodus, Grim Fireshot Gamer, Brandon Lieutenant Riley, and Jonah Levinston. Yes, What If Naruto Was Betrayed will be coming soon as well, but once again, thank you to my balance breaker, which is the highest membership tier. If you become in your tier, it's a huge support to me. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough, like seriously. And also, if you guys want to see what ifs on Goku, I just posted on that channel, and I'm doing some things, I'm customizing some things on there, and I'm testing out some things. So please subscribe to my second channel. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into part 2. Chapter 4. An entire week has passed since Issei has been transformed from a human into a reincarnated devil. Ever since then, he had been training with Sir Zex multiple times per day to finally achieve the second liberation of the boosted gear. Issei, what do I do when I have to go back to paperwork? I won't want to do paperwork. It terrifies me, Sir Zex says. I don't know. I guess just try your best and you'll succeed, Issei replies. Sir Zex slams her hands onto her lap while looking as angry as she could at Issei before responding. But I don't want to do the paperwork, Sir Zex says. Well, you asked me about this paperwork, and knowing how important paperwork is, you'll eventually have to do it. Just suck it up, pain, and bravely fight through the paperwork, Issei says. Oh, come on! You're almost as bad as Grafia, Sir Zex replied. Issei had learned many things from Sir Zex. One was that she was very childish, which was kind of entertaining. Another thing that she was really smart. She could effortlessly destroy any plan that he would come up with, even when she gave him an entire day to plan. She was able to effortlessly just see through his entire plan step by step. Finally, she hated paperwork and was petrified of this person named Grafia. While Sir Zex was complaining about paperwork, Drake finally began speaking with Issei mentally. You're saying as if you're any better. Should have seen yourself when I nearly forced you into training with Sir Zex while she was agitated by something. You begin whining like a bitch, Drake says. Drake wasn't so kind to Issei when talking about words that he would only use on the human boy, but he did not show some sincerity for his host. He was definitely a tsundere. You do know that you complain even more than me, right? Always complaining about a pervert being your host or weakling being your host. I think you repeat these phrases at least a few hundred times a day, Issei says. Are you talking back to me? Drake says. Isn't that how a conversation works? Issei says. Leaving the dragon to scream in the background, Sir Zex quickly decided to have one final training session before allowing Issei to take the next step. Issei Hyodo. In this entire week, you have shown great adaptability in the supernatural world. However, you'll now have to show me what you've got, Sir Zex says. Didn't we just have a training session not too long ago, Issei says. Did I ask for your opinion, Sir Zex replied. Sir Zex quickly began training and dragging Issei along the ground while he tried to run away. She quickly slammed him onto the ground, which signaled him into a mess with her at the current moment. Time skip. Issei was standing on the other side of the battlefield, where Sir Zex was casually waiting for Issei to rush at him. She was turning her back on him just to agitate the boy, knowing better than rushing in immediately without being boosted enough. Sir Zex, even when standing still, was still releasing a terrifying aura that sent shivers down Issei's spine. Issei decided to use his resources well. Drake, how many times can I boost? Currently, you can only boost several times before exhaustion wears you down, Drake says. Alright, Issei replies. Boost! Issei immediately rushed backwards, waiting to see if Sir Zex would do, but she just stood there. Boost! Moving around, making sure that he would always be paying awareness to whatever the movement that Sir Zex could do. Issei rapidly moved left and right. Boost! That was 3. There was still nothing to happen. He was going to be needing even an approach bypass the settled pressure that Sir Zex naturally releases when just by standing. Boost again. Now quickly dashed straight at Sir Zex, landing a powerful right hook on Sir Zex's back, forcing his body weight into the blow and forcing the force which released a small gust of debris. However, Sir Zex was still stationary while having this menacing aura. Boost! Continuing his comma, each continuous jab he landed didn't do anything, but his plan was boost! If she was going to allow for him to land all these blows, then she wouldn't mind if he did this, grabbing onto Sir Zex from feet and lifting her, catching her off guard by swinging her around before saying, "So long, gay Bowser," Issei says, sending the woman flying high into the sky before crouching down to prepare for a powerful leap. Boost! Jumping straight into the air, Issei quickly learned a powerful dragon blast in his hand before appearing in front of Sir Zex's face. She wasn't smiling. She had the face of pure disappointment before Issei blasted his most powerful dragon shot point blank at Sir Zex's face. An explosion of sheer power and small pressure was shot straight at Sir Zex's face, seemingly sending her flying into the ground. Issei knew that she wasn't down. He had learned from Drake that Sir Zex was literally a mountain while he was an ant. He had no chance in defeating her if he was given a century to train. However, maybe impressing her was something different, but Issei's thoughts were interrupted when a hand grabbed his face in a split second. He was slammed to the ground with enough force to destroy whatever momentum or boost he was having, forcing the boosted gear into dismissing itself. That was highly disappointing. I knew I should have taught you how to fight better with your hands, instead of training your basic capabilities. It was as if a 5-year-old was attacking me, Sir Zex says. Issei released a groan before Sir Zex lifted Issei's head with her right hand into the air before throwing him towards the door. At least you can use your magic to the degree of notifying me when you're in trouble, Sir Zex says. Wow, nice way of encouraging me, Issei replies. Yep, a week of dealing with Drake was beginning to rub off on him. Sir Zex sighed and appeared in front of Issei. Come on, get up. Let's get something to eat, Sir Zex says. Issei attempted to get up, but his body wouldn't respond. Yeah, sure. Could you help me? Issei replied. Issei was kind of stuck and out of energy. Sir Zex sighed and lifted the poor boy. Thank you. At least you're not like all those Karens, Issei said. The Karens? Sir Zex replied. Yeah, the crazy women screaming at anyone they proclaim are wrong, Issei replies. Sir Zex was kind of amused by such people that Issei knew about. Karens? What type of people did Issei know about? Do you know anything about these Karens? Sir Zex says. Yeah, they terrify anyone with how loud they can be, Issei replies. Am I a Karen? Sir Zex says. No, why? Issei says. I'm loud and some people say annoying. Are you racist? Issei says. No, Sir Zex replies. Are you self-centered? Issei says. No, Sir Zex replied. There's your answer. Sir Zex was relieved when hearing that Issei didn't think that she was a Karen. Having a negative connection with your servant was leading to factor to them turning into a straight devil, something that Sir Zex would hope to Satan would never happen. Issei continued speaking with Sir Zex about some more facts that he knew. They both have a major thing in common. They both were fearful of math. Even Drake joined them in that phobia. Time skip. Appearing in the middle of the living room, Sir Zex made sure that Issei wouldn't be noticed by her barrage, because if they think that Issei was an enemy, then they would kill him in less than a second. Currently, with a certain evil super devil, the entire underworld was on guard of any chance of infiltration happening. Issei would immediately be suspicious, being when his strength was equal to a low class inside of Lucifer's mansion. Another good thing that was, since Issei was so weak magically, he was able to be hidden from the radar when being in proximity to Lucifer, because Sir Zex's pressure would hide Issei's presence. So, what do you do in your spare time? Issei replies. Sir Zex sighed before thinking about a response. That's even if I have spare time. Usually I just annoy my sister, Sir Zex says. Issei, once hearing that she had a sister, quickly began changing his facial expression to one with confusion. Wait, you have a sister? Issei says. Yeah, Rias Gremory. Doesn't she go to your school? Sir Zex says. Issei, when hearing the news, shouldn't be surprised, but was still shocked because of the resemblances finally appearing in his mind. There was a reason why he said that this woman was a more mature version of Rias Gremory. Something's telling me you finally realized the similarities between us, Sir Zex says. Yeah, you both act childish and are beautiful, Issei says. Issei, being the pervert and the man hated by nearly entire woman population, while also being scarred for his life by his ex-girlfriend, didn't know why Sir Zex was blushing while smiling at Issei's words. He simply just sighed and waited for her to speak again. He still wanted revenge against his ex-girlfriend. She played with his heart and thought that she could walk away. He hated those who walk away thinking that they could do something to someone and expect to have no consequences delivered to them. Well, thank you for your words, but that's all that I do when I have spare time, Sirzex says. Sounds really boring, Issei replies. Yeah, I know, but I really... Sirzex gets cut off, being interrupted by Issei, who quickly grabbed her by the hand while grabbing her attention. Since you don't have to do paperwork, how about watching some television shows? Trust me, some of the shows on television, when connected with the human world, are amazing to watch, Issei says. Sirzex, when staring into Issei's eyes for any hint of jest and not seeing any, decided to allow Issei to continue with his plans. She heard from her sister that these human television shows were some of the most entertaining things to do when having spare time. Sitting on the couch, the massive cubic couch, Issei quickly played regular show. Be prepared to be amazed, Issei says. Time skip. My amazement is immeasurable and my day is fixed, Sirzex says. She was amazed by how little shows that give her this much entertainment. Now, she had something to watch while being bored or not wanting to bother her sister. Issei, you'll have cured my boredom with such a show. For that, I'll allow you to rest during... That was when Sirzex began sensing an evil presence outside of the castle. Not right outside, but in proximity. It was definitely a straight devil. A massive smirk was present upon her facial expression, while Issei was at the beginning to tremble in fear, knowing that when she smiled like that, things were going to get terrible. I'll take back what I said. We're going on an adventure, Sirzex says. She grabbed Issei and began running with him. The two were essentially just children. Issei was similar to Sirzex in that they both were clueless in many things. But Issei will be seeing the truth of one of the many dark secrets of the supernatural world. Stray devils weren't just normal beasts. They can easily be anything, from small critters to massive behemoths, from low class to ultimate class and above. And that is the end of Chapter 4. Chapter 5, The Stray. Issei hung onto Sirzex while they teleported straight towards the area of the stray devil. Watching as this place was filled with blood and guts all over the place, Issei was beginning to feel fear and disgust when seeing the massacre. The ruined area was giving off a vibe of fear and malicious, but that feeling was being fed from one specific direction, the north. Issei, this may be hard to watch, but you will see and have to do this eventually, Sirzex says. Sirzex morosely watched as Issei was beginning to pale at the moment that he had finally seen everything in his surroundings. She knew that showing off such a horrific sight was going to damage him, but it was better to show him the sight now and help him recover than later. Drake, what type of monster would do such a thing? Issei says. Stray, rogue, and evil dragon would do such a thing. People who have lost their common sense, people who have killed their masters, and people who have wanted the freedom just to kill those they despise, Drake says. Luckily, Sirzex is here, Issei says. Then, you hear a huge roar. What they say was going to terrify Issei for a little while. A monster! The size of a couple of stories tall and massive, half of a football field wide, was seen ramming through the plentiful horses of young devils in the proximity, having a bunch of legs that were shaped like hooves of an animal while screaming out goat sounds. A dozen tentacles that were swaying from the side to side made the creature even more terrifying than anything that Issei had seen, even more terrifying than Drake. It's one of those types, Sirzex says. Boost! Issei quickly pulled out the boosted gear. Even if he was outmatched by a mile, he wanted to at least have some sort of chance to push away some debris or at least die fighting. Sirzex noticed this and smiled. Issei was quite brave and doing far better than most humans than turn into devils. Issei, stay beside me at all times, Sirzex says. Boost! Sirzex demanded Issei to follow her order. That wasn't a moment for them to play around. Issei immediately went beside Sirzex's side, watching as Sirzex quickly began releasing when a massive pressure that caught the monster's attention. Turning towards Sirzex, the goat monster began walking, destroying everything when stomping its hooves, towards Sirzex while swinging its arms around. Boost! Whenever the monster began to approach Issei and Sirzex, the monster began to bring the dark and malicious energy into a singular point above its head, finally launching the massive beam of pure darkness straight at Issei and Sirzex. Issei quickly got closer to Sirzex while preparing himself for the event in front of him. He knew that something bad was going to happen. That was the feeling which he was getting from intaking the malicious aura from the goat monster. Boost! Well, Issei, I want you to watch and see one of my many dark secrets that are in the supernatural world has, Sirzex says. Sirzex, with a swipe of her hand, dismissed the beam of darkness while leaving the goat monster confused about what was happening. Boost! Sirzex finally decided to act, releasing her aura, releasing the aura of destruction around her. while making sure that things around her weren't disintegrating. She had the mastery control over her aura and power, allowing her to point her hand straight at the goat monster from a distance. Transfer! However, before she could attack the monster, Issei decided to make sure that nothing bad would be able to happen. Transferring the boost which he had gathered, Sir Zex, needless to say, gladly accepted the help and smirked when knowing that Issei was helping her, even when he didn't know what he was doing. Drake was heavily supporting Issei, making sure that Issei's mind wouldn't be affected by massive pressures being released by Sir Zex. Before creation comes destruction, Sir Zex says. With the boost that she obtained from Issei, her aura had vastly increased, and the control of her power nearly went unstable with the massive boost of energy. Issei didn't transfer his own power, he instead transferred the amount of boost that he had accumulated collecting. Hakai, Sir Zex says. Seemingly, with a single glance, the goat monster was seen disintegrating from existence. Issei was absolutely astonished by such a sight. Issei Hyodo, this is only a fraction of which the power Lucifer holds. Even with the transfer of boost, she can easily blow away what she had just done. From rumor, she was stated to be the pinnacle of devil power. I can see why, if she continues to grow stronger, she might even reach the power of the original biblical god, Drake says. Issei lost his absolute mind when hearing that. She was far stronger than even this. Issei had his mouth wide open while his eyes were glued on the previous location of the goat beast, which had finally stopped screaming and existing altogether. Well, that was that. Now, how about Issei, are you alright? Sir Zex says. Issei was still stuck in fear when seeing all of this occurring. Sir Zex, being the king that she was, began worrying about the well-being of her pawn after seeing such an ugly monster. Sir Zex quickly appeared in front of Issei and began shaking him, trying to get him out of such a state. He had finally been shown why this woman was named Sir Zex Lucifer. An entire week, Issei had been thinking that this woman was just naturally named Sir Zex Lucifer, but now seeing that she had been holding back even more power than what he thought, maybe this woman was named Lucifer because of her power. Drake had been warning him of how powerful Sir Zex was, mentioning not getting on her bad side. Maybe listening to those warnings would be the best option for him if he wants to survive in this new life. Issei finally got his shit together and looked at Sir Zex with a little hint of fear. Sorry about that. What was that thing? Issei says. Like how humans have serial killers and criminals, we have supernatural or have a similar concept of sucked beings. Those are called straight devils. You know, how am I your master, your king piece? Issei quickly nodded to what she said. Well, those strays are beings that have killed their masters for many reasons, mostly for their gains. They usually turn into beasts, but if they are originally strong, then they tend to turn into monsters the size of the same one we have seen today, Sir Zex says. Issei processed all the information and understood all of it. Over the entire week, Issei understood that he was pathetically weak compared to, from what Sir Zex was told him, nearly every being in the supernatural world. She had embedded this small spark for Issei to try obtaining more power. But this is evident, had truly shown him why he needed to train. He was finally understanding why it was essential for him to train. Sir Zex and these monsters were in their own league. From what he had heard from Drake, Sir Zex was named the Lucifer. That meant she was the queen/king of the entire devil race. If life and cartoons have told him anything, the king usually has the most enemies. Issei was a weak point that any enemy could use against Sir Zex and her other Parage members. Well, what do you want to do? Rest, sleep, or eat some food? Sir Zex says. Issei was going to nod, but he wasn't going to be satisfied for a while. He was literally useless in this situation. Rainier was something, but she wasn't someone that could swipe left on a massive bean and dismiss it. Drake, should I accept this? Issei says, since you're finally seeing the world with truth. Instead of one brain cell, but now with 2 brain cells, you have realized that you're basically one of the weakest in the supernatural world. What I suggest, bear with me partner, is for you to continue training until you have reached around 15 boost. I know, but the pain, Issei says. He was interrupted by the ancient dragon, replied in a more hostile tone. As they say, no pain, no gain. In this case, it would be gain. If you don't make this a habit, you'll eventually hit the point where you'll have to know that you failed. You will then have regrets knowing that you didn't put in your best at each point. As a dragon, I suggest stop being a bitch and train. I'll ask this partner, where is your fucking pride? Drake says. Issei took those words and sucked up some of his potential fear. He was literally given the chance of being trained by Sir Zex Lucifer, the perfect protecting structure for him and the strongest devil, looking at Sir Zex with a serious gaze, which bemused Sir Zex before finally speaking his mind up. How about taking another session of training me? Issei says. Sir Zex was bewildered in hearing those words. Issei Hyodo, a man who a week ago was a pathetic coward, who was asking her for some training, this was even more entertaining than watching television. Well, you're asking for it. Don't come crying to me when you're beaten on the ground, Sir Zex says. Issei shivered when hearing those words. He began shuddering when seeing the same damn smile that would bring pain to him. Okay, Issei says, and he was teleported with Sir Zex. And that was the end of Chapter 5, Stray. Chapter 6, Exchange. After a few days, Issei has been seen training inside of the training room. Sir Zex was needed for a specific meeting, which she couldn't ditch. Currently, Issei was doing weighted push-ups. Drake had forced him into doing workouts that he can make him sore for many days. Holy shit, these hurt, Issei says. Issei Hyodo, I suggest you stop complaining or else I'll have to increase the load, Drake says. Issei, needless to say, listened to the old dragon and silently began finishing the last set of his push-ups. Thud. Hastily, Issei tried to regain his composure, but failed in getting back up to his feet, dropping onto the ground face flat once more. Issei was out of energy again. Good. That was 4 sets before failing. We'll have to bring that up to 10 sets before proceeding to the next step, Drake says. Damn, this is just hell, Issei replies. Would you rather deal with some soccer moms or train with me, Drake says. Obviously, I would want to train with you and deal with an angry soccer mom. Wait, how do you, Issei says. I can literally go through your entire living memories, Drake said. Oh, that explains that, Issei replies. Issei remained stationary on the ground before he finally gained the thought that he wanted to ask the ancient dragon. It was always lingering him ever since that he had joined the supernatural world. Drake, is there any way of gaining instant power? Like, this world is called the supernatural world. The side of the humans wouldn't be able to understand with their math and science. This world, from what you have educated me of, uses imagination to obtain success. Then, is there any way of attaining quick succession of power through abnormal means? Drake kept quiet. He knew that his partner was going to ask questions when the sudden jolt occurred in his partner when he was lying on the ground. Seeing, though, what his partner could think, he already had a response prepared but didn't know when to say it. Was his partner going to follow through and believe what the ancient dragon was going to say? Well, there is a specific way of obtaining succession of power for Longinus users with spirits, Drake says. Issei's eyes sparkled when hearing this. He was going to obtain some power no matter what. If less than circumstances become grim, he needed a quick power boost to power to create an easy base for him to start learning the magic that Sir Zex can use, or at least the magic that the most supernatural beings can use. Sacrificing parts of your body can result in quick succession of power. They will be replaced with the dragon parts instead, Drake says. That was when things got a bit grim. Sacrifice parts of your body in the same sentence don't mix well with anyone. If you sacrifice your arm, the arm you'll obtain will be a draconic, stronger, and better than the devil arm that you currently have, Drake says. Since you said body parts, what that mean I can sacrifice my heart, hair, or even my legs, Issei says? Yes, but the more vital part of the body is, the more chance of failure will occur with the body part. Also, each body part sacrifice comes with its own benefits, Drake says. So what if I sacrifice my eyes, Issei says. You'll gain the normally increased affinity with dragon magic, but you'll also gain sharper and more powerful eyesight, Drake says. What about sacrificing my brain, Issei replies. Sacrificing your puny brain for a strong dragon-like brain would bring in benefits such as an entire increase in your senses, an increase in your pain tolerance, stronger mental health, an increase in magic affinity, specifically a substantial increase in magical abilities. Not only that your entire personality would change to more of a dragon type, a dragon aiming for domination, Drake says. Issei was astonished by such news until... But sacrificing such a vital part would mean instant death. The chances of living through such trade would be lower than winning the lottery, Drake says. Well, there goes the chance of Issei becoming smarter. Maybe then he could have made his mother and father proud with a higher chance of making it into an actual college, Issei thought to himself. Parts of your arms and legs can be changed to dragon parts with guaranteed success. Parts like eyes and ears have half the chance of success, while vital areas such as heart and brain don't even try to exchange them, Drake said. How much of a boost would I receive in exchanging my legs and arms and my eyes? Issei says. You would be able to gain a substantial increase in power. Your boost limit would increase from 12 to nearly 20. Your base strength, magic affinity, and natural eyesight would increase, while your speed would substantially increase. Partner, why? Drake says. Issei began thinking thoughtfully about what he was saying. This was a sacrifice for him to become more dragon. Thinking that dragons would be naturally more powerful than devils and angels, seeing through many of the fantasy books which he had read when he was a child, seeing the difference in strength between him and Sir Zex, he was a liability in nearly every circumstance if he were to work together, except when playing board games. However, there was one thing that was forcing him into wanting to obtain this power: the fear of not being able to prepared when he meets his ex-girlfriend. He wanted revenge against that bitch. He wanted to make sure that she would suffer. For her to play with his emotions and humility, him by letting him die in such a cruel way, he will make her suffer for such a thing. I want to sacrifice those parts, Issei says. Silence was all heard in the area. Drake was bewildered by such a saying from his partner. He literally just told him that he would need to sacrifice those parts for power, and he was bravely accepting such terms. Partner, are you sure? Drake says. Yes, Issei replied. In an instant, Issei's body suddenly felt a massive jolt of pain coursing from bottom to top. His eyes widened in pain, but then they stopped functioning as well. Issei's eyes were forced into slamming while his body began crumbling apart. He wanted to scream, but his eyes and body wouldn't respond. He was experiencing all the pain while he was awake. What was happening? I have forced your body into a sleeping state while allowing your brain to function, since those parts aren't going to be sacrificed. Drake said. You know, you could have knocked me out, right? Issei replied. I could have, but I didn't feel like doing that, Drake said. Why? Issei replied. For all the times you've talked back to me. Take this as punishment, Drake says. You son of a... He quickly felt another jolt of pain coursing through his entire body. Damn that dragon! Time skip. Rias was seen sitting down examining the evidence that she had received. The fallen angels in the area have left for some reason. Before Rias could do anything, they seemingly have fled the area after doing something. Akeno, what have you found in your abandoned church? Rias says. Akeno morosely showed something that shocked Rias to the core. In the hands of Kiba, who was making his way back, a dead body that was going through the process of decay was in his hands. It turns out those fallen angels have been manipulating humans into doing their deeds. The body has been seemingly dead for many days. Rias, seeing that the body couldn't be resurrected anymore, slowly began tearing up. A human body was killed. The two human bodies have been killed by the fallen angels, and she wasn't doing anything because of the fear that she had. This woman was seen in the middle of a ritual. It appeared that they had done something to her which resulted in her death, Kiba said. Kiba placed both hands on the ground before backing up to where Konako was. They all felt the terrible tremble for a human to die, an innocent human to be conflicted with the supernatural world, to be killed. Rias could only blame herself. Anger began to crawl up from her body before her aura of destruction began engulfing the room. Akeno, Rias said. Rias, what is it? Akeno replied. Are you sure that the fallen angels have left the area? Rias says. Akeno sadly nodded, which caused even more pain in Rias. When Rias sees that bitch Rainier again, then she will make sure that she will pay for at least 2 lives that she had taken. Akeno, help me get in contact with Gravy to set up a meeting with my sister tomorrow, Rias says. Akeno sorrowfully nodded while looking at the woman's dead body. They were going to give the woman a proper burial. Time skip. Issei finally was able to move his body after what seemed like hours. What the hell? Damn you, Drake! Issei says. You're welcome, Drake replied. He quickly left the mental link to do whatever the dragon does. Opening his eyes, Issei was met with a view, a much sharper and more precise view. Being astonished by the development, Issei backed up and quickly fell on his ass. Why is everything so clear? Look at your arms and legs, Drake says. The dragon was back. Nice! Issei looked at his legs and arms and was able to see the detailed scales. The red scales covering his entire arm and legs with claws pointing out of where his toes and fingers were. If you haven't noticed, you can turn them back with magic. I'll help you in shape-shifting the arms and legs into normal human limbs, Drake said. With that, Drake was quickly able to do, which was something that Issei greatly appreciated. The benefits of doing such a trade is that you have increased strength, speed, durability, eyesight, and more. Stability when using magic. Also, your reaction time is increased severely. Partner, you're more dragon than human at this point. Be proud. Now you aren't completely worthless, Drake says. Thanks, I guess, Issei replied. For the next few hours, Issei continued trying to adjust to his new body, which Drake had given him. Time skip. Issei was walking back after taking a shower towards the living room. So, you've exchanged your body parts to gain more power, Sir Zex says. Issei was caught off guard by how quickly Sir Zex was able to detect that. Don't think that I wouldn't be able to detect the draconic presence that's coming from you, Sir Zex says. Sir Zex was standing near the entrance of the living room with a look of devoid of any emotion. She was staring down upon Issei, not knowing what to do. Issei just sheepishly chuckled. Damn, even this doesn't get past her. You're on your own, partner, Drake says. Damn, dragon. Sir Zex began approaching Issei with a monotone steps, before finally, Issei was closing his eyes in fear, staring down at the child. Sir Zex was quite a bit taller than Issei. Bunk. Why are you closing your eyes? Why are you acting as if I'll hurt you, Sir Zex says. She was severely annoyed by that. Issei opened his eyes, showing his draconic pupils to the woman. Sir Zex had to say they looked far better than before. It was actually matching Issei's hair color. Sorry about that, Issei says. Well, at least it will make this training with you far more entertaining. Maybe I'll actually have to move a centimeter, Sir Zex says. Okay, this one was going a little bit over with that statement. Issei decided to say one of the classics and unoriginal jokes that humans tend to say in Kahoot. Ligma, Issei says. Sir Zex, not knowing what the hell Issei just said, quickly questioned the word of the name. What's a ligma? Sir Zex says. Like my balls, Issei replied. Like my balls, Sir Zex says. Sir Zex, once saying the word, finally understood what he meant. Looking at Issei, who was laughing his ass off on Sir Zex's perplexed facial expression, she quickly began blushing in embarrassment, hearing what Issei said. Fumbling the words she was going to say, Lucifer had to lost to a low-class devil for the first time. No! How could I be losing to a low class? This can't be, Sir Zex says. Okay, now she was mocking him. Okay, for that, I'll make sure to show you mercy in those board games, Issei says. I'll make sure to make no mercy, my bad. Sir Zex widened her eyes when hearing that. Issei couldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Sir Zex gave him puppy eyes, but she still hadn't worked. Be prepared to be destroyed, Issei says. Please, show mercy, Sir Zex replied. Sir Zex quickly grabbed Issei's, hoping that this would work. Sorry, but I'm all out of mercy, Issei says. For the rest of the night, Sir Zex continued losing every match in Sorry, Uno, Monopoly, and even Mario Kart. And that is the end of Chapter 6, Exchange. And that is where we're going to end off Part 2. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It's been absolutely amazing. Like, seriously, I cannot thank you enough. This video is being pre-recorded before I do go on a little bit of vacation for my birthday. I'm going to be gone through the 19th to the 24th, but you'll obviously see uploads continuing, but you won't even realize that I'm gone, or at least I'm going to try to make it that way. I'm going to at least try to release 2 videos in the midst of when I'm gone, so it doesn't look like I'm gone for that long, if you get what I'm trying to say. Well, thank you again for all the support. Once again, thank you to all my balance breakers, the highest membership tier. You guys are a huge support of my channel, reason why, like, all my channel members are a huge part of my success, as well as just you guys in general. The comments, the likes, been absolutely amazing. Let's try to hit 800 likes again if we can. I cannot thank you enough for all the support that's been going on my channel. We have 28,000 subscribers. Yes, I really didn't think I was going to get this far, but I always believed in myself, so thank you once again. I couldn't have made it here without y'all, man. If you guys want to see what ifs on Goku, obviously I'm still posting over there. Your boy is kind of going crazy with the Goku content just because I cannot tell you enough how much I like Dragon Ball. I've gotten so intrigued into this series, and I bought like 3 volumes of the manga already. I'm looking at it right now, so that's why I'm like turning to my right. But I'll probably do a video. I also bought like the Dragon Ball cards because I'm a loser. But like, once again, thanks for the support, boys. And without further ado, oh wait, go subscribe to my second channel. I know I already said it, but just please do it. Like it's so, I'm about to hit like 9,000 subs in there. If I have 2 channels over 10,000 subscribers, your boy's gonna go nuts. Like, I don't know, man. Thanks so much for the support. Without further ado, Spartanic Arts DXD out.